to the ministers, and the first I will call on the podium is Matthias Machnig, who is the State Secretary of the Federal Republic of Germany.
Ja, lieber Carlo, Calenda, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen, herzlichen Dank für diese Konferenz. Weil ich glaube, wir lernen eines, und das haben die Beiträge hier auch noch mal sehr deutlich gemacht, wir lernen, dass bestimmte Themen nur im internationalen Kontext von uns wirklich bearbeitet werden können. Und I thought it was translation, isn't it translation? Do we have translation so I can speak also in English if you want? But, okay. So let me start again. Let me first of all thank Carlo Calenda and the Italian government to have this conference here. I think this is very important. This is important because when we talk about digitization, we can't look for national answers, we need global answers, and that's very, very important. And the second thing is, I've been to many, many conferences on digitization, and I've always made one experience. Everyone is talking about it, but everyone understands something totally different. Why I'm going to say that? Some talk about, when they talk about digitization, some talk about infrastructures. Some talk about platforms. Some talk about artificial intelligence. And some talk even about cybersecurity whatsoever. So one of the most important things, and therefore this conference are so important, to define a common understanding what we mean when we talk about digitization and where are those fields of cooperation that is needed in the next years to frame and also to influence the technological development. The second remark I want to make is we have to look, of course, technology can help, but technology is also a challenge. I give you one idea. When we are going to create big data monopolies, this will change not only the structure of our economy, it will also change the competition rules of our economies. The question at the end will be, to bring it on this formula, where do you have the higher added value? On the level of platforms or on the level of production or services? And this is a huge game changer. And therefore we have to look also, when we talk about digital 4.0, what is competition 4.0 and what kind of competition rules are needed for the next years that we are going to get something like a level playing field. This is needed because otherwise new monopolies are going to dictate where we are going in the digital world. And let me make a second point that's very, very important. The question of qualification will play a decisive role. And all we can see is the qualifications and the competence that are needed in the digital world are changing. We don't know exactly to what percentage we will win or lose jobs, but what we know exactly that the qualifications in the future are different one than of those today. That's very important because we have to think about how we can enable people to be part of the game and what kind of qualifications are needed. And to be very honest, a lot of people also in Germany are discussing what is digital education, what are digital competences, but even when I ask people from university and others, they can't really define what is a digital competence and what do we have to learn. And so we have also defined together what do have people need to learn to do that. And how important this is, I just give you one number. My people always, when I have to make speeches, they give me a lot of data, and one data is very interesting. They say those young children who are going to school this year, starting school this year, 65% of them will be in a job that that name we don't even know today. 2/3 of them. So this shows the enormous dynamic that's taking place, and this shows we have to talk about competences, but not, let's say, on a very general, on a very principal level. I could say a lot of more. One last remark I want to make. What we are discussing here, and I found very interesting what the AI is going to, the machines are going to tell us. I can tell you this will also change and has to change political decision-making processes. Because the dynamic of the whole process is very high. If you look at our decision-making processes, national or even in the European level, they take long. Normally we start with a green book, a white book, and then we make some legislation. And when the legislation is over, we have given an answer to a problem that's no longer there because there are new problems on the table. That's the truth. So we have to talk about one thing. How can we speed up our decision-making processes? How can we work together, especially in Europe, digital single market? And how can we be able also, with this kind of speed decision-making, how can we able to make the framework for the future? Because that's very important, and we have to establish also a new system of decision-making processes for the future. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to Carlo and all the others here. I look forward to the debate because I know there are different approaches on this issue. That's very good. But we have also looked for a common understanding, a common framework, and of common rules for the future of digitalization, because that's what is needed, and that's what also people and people from our countries are wanting from us. Thanks a lot. Good luck for the conference.
Thank you, State Secretary. And now we move to Japan, and I will call on the stage, on the podium, Shinsuke Okano, the State Minister for Internal Affairs and Communication of Japan. You're very welcome.
Good evening. My name is Okuno. I will speak in Japanese to avoid misunderstanding due to my very poor intonation. So I will ask interpreter to make a good work. 今日はイノベーターや産学の代表の方から素晴らしい報告をいただきありがとうございました。情報通信分野においてはマルチステークホルダーによる議論が重要であって、私ども日本が昨年21年ぶりに開かれた日本での会議でマルチステークホルダー会合というやり方をやりましょうよということでご理解をいただきました。そして今年もそれが継続されたことを嬉しく思う次第であります。今回の報告をお聞きして IoT や人工知能 AI 等の新たなデジタル技術を通じたイノベーションを実現させるのにはデータという新たな資産が必要であるということを強く感じました。このデータの生む価値というものをマキシマイズするためには、自由でオープンなデジタル経済、あるいは社会の整備を通じた情報の自由な流通の促進、 あるいは人間中心の AI の実現を目指した市場主導による AI の開発、あるいは普及に関する議論をさらに推し進めること、サイバーセキュリティの確保やプライバシーの保護を通じた安全・安心なデジタル経済、社会の整備をさまざまな関係者との議論を通じて進めていくことの重要性を強く感じました。この後の大臣会合においても皆様の議論を踏まえ、議論を深めていきたいと考えております。以上が私からのコメントでありまして、ありがとうございました。
Well, thank you very much. And we have a second Japanese host with us. So I call here with us Daisaku Iraki, who is the Parliamentary Vice Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan. You're welcome.
日本からは2人話す時間をいただきましたので、私もコンパクトにご挨拶させていただきたいと思います。まずは今回このように産業界、学術界、市民社会、そしてイノベーターの皆様と一堂に会してこのような形で直接意見交換できる場を設けていただきましたことに、議長国イタリアに心より御礼を申し上げたいと思います。我が国は現在デジタル社会において産業が目指すべき姿としてコネクテッドインダストリーズというコンセプトを提唱してその実現に取り組んでいます。これは物に加えてさまざまな人、技術、組織等がつながることにより新たな付加価値を生み出し社会の課題解決につなげていこうという取り組みです。こうした人間中心社会の課題の解決型の課題解決型の社会の実現に向けましては、本会合のようにさまざまなステークホルダーの皆様と議論を重ねることが最も重要と考えております。例えばビッグデータを活用した新たなサービスの創出を作っていくためには、その基盤となるデータがつながる環境を徹底的に整備していかなくてはなりません。このためには個々の企業がバラバラな取り組みをするだけでは不十分であり、複数の企業間での協調や政府も含めた協力が必要となってきます。我が国においては政府産業界がそれぞれ取り組むべきアクションを明確化すべく、関係者が一体となって自動走行、ものづくり、バイオなどの主要分野ごとに検討を進めているところです。これまで日本のステークホルダーの皆様と議論を重ね、具体的なアクションを抽出してきたところでありますけれども、本日を機にここに集まる世界のステークホルダーの皆様と国境を越えたコネクテッドインダストリーズの実現に向けた議論をキックオフし、ぜひ皆様から様々なご示唆をいただけたらと思っております。ご清聴いただきましてありがとうございました。
So we are clear invitation to cooperate, to do more things together. And it's the time to call our British friend on the stage, Matthew Hancock, who is the Minister of State for Digital from the United Kingdom. You're welcome.
Buonasera, spero che tutti abbiano avuto una buona conferenza finora. Posso continuare in inglese? Sì? Devo continuare in inglese? As has been mentioned, there is a huge advantage to the internet, which has brought untold freedom and opportunity and connections between our economies and our society and between people right around the world. The debate that we face today is about a move from an essentially libertarian internet in which this freedom brought these advantages, to, I would say, an internet based on liberal values where the need to protect and enhance this freedom is also balanced by the need to mitigate potential harms. These sorts of values are embodied in the founding documents of all of the G7 nations. And from protecting us against terrorism to the protection of intellectual property, the need to ensure that online we protect freedom through mitigating harms is as necessary now as it has been offline over the generations. In the UK, we've set this out in what we call a digital charter, which is intended to bring together, with the support both of the big internet giants and of the smallest of startups, with governments and civil society, to bring together this need for a set of values on the internet that allows everybody to gain the opportunities whilst we mitigate the harms. And I hope that this conference is a significant opportunity for the G7 to come together around a view and an attitude and ultimately a philosophy towards how we guide the internet over its next years and decades. One important element which has been mentioned already, which I think we can't stress enough, is the importance of the international free flow of information between safe jurisdictions where we have adequate privacy safeguards and high-quality cybersecurity. And in this, as in the broader work, the G7 has a leading role in a global agreement to secure this freedom. And I hope it's with that high aim that we can all continue our work here today and tomorrow. Thank you very much indeed.
So we shall make a little bit of a leap in the future, calling the next president of the G7, and I will call our Canadian friend Navdeep Bains, Minister of Innovation, Science and Economic Development of Calenda. You're very welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It really is an honor and privilege to be here, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Italy and its leadership for, again, organizing a very impressive G7 ministerial meeting. I wanted to be very brief in my remarks, but just highlight a few things that emerged from the conversation, the discussion that took place earlier. There was many points that were raised with respects to privacy, big data in the context of artificial intelligence. And for me, the point that I want to highlight, there's just very few quick points I want to highlight. We can have these conversations in these rooms, and these discussions are very important. But the fundamental issue for me and for Canada is one of trust. We need to build trust amongst the general population with our respective jurisdictions. Without that, we cannot proceed in a meaningful way. And so in order to do that, one of the areas that I think is absolutely essential for all of us to address collectively is around being inclusive. How can we move forward with respects to artificial intelligence in a manner that is inclusive? And in Canada, we have a Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, who's demonstrating the importance of being inclusive in terms of how we develop public policy, specifically targeting young people. He is the Minister responsible for youth and has put forward a set of initiatives to really enable young people to have the skill sets they need to succeed for those jobs that don't even exist now, from 10 to 15, 20 years from now. He's also, as you heard most recently at the United Nations, made a clear focus and emphasis on how we can engage our Indigenous communities, particularly in rural, remote parts of Canada. And so we have made significant investments in fiber connectivity in our rural and remote communities so they can be part of this digital revolution as well. And also newcomers. One of the strengths for Canada, as you know, and I think I'm a bit of a byproduct of it, is our diversity. We take enormous pride from the fact that people from all around the world can come to Canada, can live in Canada, fully participate in Canadian society and have that sense of belonging. But that importance of diversity and engaging diversity is so critical. It really is the fuel of our innovation economy. It really is the fuel for the jobs of tomorrow. And one final point, in order to cement that trust, is one about collaboration. It is so critical that we talk not only about academia and business, but also civil society. And that's why when we put policies in place in Canada, for example, an initiative called Supercluster, which is all about collaboration and helping small companies, and we talked extensively about the importance of SMEs as part of the value chain, a part of the digital chain, is to make sure that we have a process that we promote and create an atmosphere of collaboration. And that's one area that I think we need to address as well. And this is essential for us if we are to move forward in a political manner that really is able to take us in an area where we can collectively succeed with respect to artificial intelligence. Because for me, artificial intelligence, for example, today is about better jobs. It's about better outcomes for society. It's about a better quality of life. And that's the aspirations I think we all have. But it's so critical that we build that trust, we promote collaboration, and we promote diversity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. We do like diversity very much. And now let's move to America. And I will call on the podium with taking all the misspelling risks. Michael Kratsios, Deputy Assistant to the President of the US and Deputy US Chief Technology Officer. Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to express my appreciation to Italy for hosting this G7 ICT and industry ministerial today, and for devoting so much effort to making this ministerial a success. I was able to participate in the I7 today, and it was a truly fantastic event. In the last decades, we have seen technological advancements, particularly in communications and technology, that improve virtually every aspect of our lives. These advancements have created vast new wealth for workers and families, have opened up bold new frontiers in science, medicine, and communication. This is why the work of the G7 to advance the digital economy and enable entrepreneurs to innovate is so critical. In the U.S., we are particularly focused on unleashing the next generation of technological breakthroughs. All great technology companies, past and present, begin as startups with an incredibly innovative idea that was allowed to flourish. Startups are engines of life-transforming technology, and they're amazing job creators. The Trump administration has been laser-focused on removing government barriers to job growth and prosperity. We want our innovators to dream big, and we want them to create new companies and to create new jobs. These include small and large companies alike. Much of what government can and should do is foster new technologies by simply getting out of the way, help streamline regulatory frameworks when needed, and work to prevent and remove policy obstacles that threaten their development. Emerging technologies in particular will present tremendous opportunities for new job creation, but will require a technically skilled and capable workforce to meet that demand. So for this week, I'm particularly excited for our discussions over the course of this ministerial, and very much look forward to working with all of you to support the global digital economy and advance innovation, economic growth, create new jobs, and opportunities for young people and entrepreneurs alike to innovate. Thank you.
Okay, two more to go, and a special guest again because it's the European Union. I will call the Vice President, Andrus Andrits from Brussels. He's the digital single market responsible in the European Union. President, you're welcome.
Thank you, dear ministers, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to be here in Turin once again, and this time to take part in this ICT G7 ministerial meeting here. I would like to thank all the organizers of this event, and of course I would like to thank organizers of G7 meeting in Takamatsu. This was really a fruitful meeting for all of us. So I would like to underline 3 topics about what I hope we will discuss during this meeting here. In Takamatsu, we agreed that we will create an environment where those free data flows will be possible, not inside of some kind of countries, but between all those G7 countries. In the European Union, we already launched our proposal to create that kind of environment because, as we all know, situation is not so good at all, neither in the European Union nor globally around the world, because in the European Union we already have 56 different laws in 21 member states dealing with forceful data localizations. And if some global service providers are able to deal with those 28 sets of different rules, then for small and medium-sized companies, for startups, it's absolutely impossible. So we have to allow free data flows across the world, but at the same time, we have to trust those countries willing to process data collected in our country. That's why I hope we will discuss also about cybersecurity issues. Once again, 2 weeks ago, we launched our cybersecurity package for the European Union. Our last strategy for cybersecurity we created in the European Union in the year 2013. Now we can count just 4 years and new strategy. But let's be honest, in the year 2013, the Internet of Things in meaning of cybersecurity practically didn't exist. And according to prognosis, we will have globally approximately 50 billion connected devices by 2020. And as we know from last autumn from the United States, it was quite easy for some bad people to create botnets based on connected devices. So we have to try to set global standards to deal with the Internet of Things and then cybersecurity issues. And we would like to start with a certification process to create a more safe environment for our people. And the third issue, I would like to say that this is our moral duty to help also those countries where they are not so much developed in digital meaning. In the European Union, we created digital for development strategy targeting especially African countries. Once again, this is our moral duty to provide our support to really poor countries to make this leapfrog everybody is dreaming about as a reality. So those are maybe those 3 main topics I hope we will be able to discuss during our meeting, but of course there are many, many other issues I'm interested in, and I'm looking forward to have a really fruitful conference. Thank you.
So we've heard the past president, we've heard the next president. Let's listen to the president. I call on the stage Mr. Carlo Calenda, who is the Minister for Economic Development and Sviluppo Economico del governo italiano.
Thank you very much. Welcome to my colleagues, to the many experts that are here today, to Italy, to Turin, to La Venaria. Fantastic place. I'm not going to read this speech. I want to demonstrate to you that politicians are able to maintain the schedule even if they arrive late. And more than this, they're even better than experts to maintain, and to respect the schedule. So the reality is that we have a cocktail we cannot miss. First of all, it is very important that we have this multi-stakeholder conference. Because as policymakers, we know that we don't know. We know that this phenomenon is very, very complex. There are many things that are underway, many others that are very difficult to evaluate, and both in the effects and in the, let's say, process. And for us, it is very important that the E7, for the first time, we report directly to the G7, as is very important that we're going to have the G7 on industry, science, and labor in the same city, in the same place. There will be a fil rouge between these three events that are just one event. If you look at the various challenges we are facing with this new revolution approaching. So we need to be extremely humble when we approach this problem, but there is one thing we know very well, that we don't have to commit the same mistake we did with globalization. Innovation as globalization is a positive process, has been here for centuries. Many people came out from poverty in the world thanks to globalization, and the same will be for the innovation process. Question is that these two phenomena have a speed, a pace, if you wish, unprecedented. And this poses a huge challenge, because we know that this will create winners and losers. We have experienced that. So the first thing we need to avoid is to tell to the people that this kind of huge change are simple, not complex, always positive, never controversial. Because when we did this with globalization, we have then fueled what we are experiencing today, a very strong backlash in the Western world. So people expect that we will govern, manage innovation. We, government, it's our duty. And we cannot simply say that market force will work for us and we have to leave everything to their action, because this will cause problems, as we have seen. We know that innovation is very positive in many ways. For example, often we don't mention the welfare state, but in Europe, the best chance we have to maintain a very expensive welfare state will be through technology, big data, new medical devices. So we need to explain this to people. But at the same time, we need to frame the environment of the technology innovation, so to be able to explain and to manage, for example, the pace of the change, and to explore those controversial issues that may arise. Artificial intelligence is one, for sure. I have to say I'm pretty much scared about the fact that a machine basically is giving answer about his role in the future. And unless you are a machine, I'm sure that this poses to you as well some very big questions. So we don't have to sell innovation. We have to face innovation. We have to manage innovation. And we can do this if we work together, especially the G7 country, especially democracies that are open to change, to innovation, to globalization, but have also to face with, the public, with the feeling of citizens, with what they think. If we don't do this, if we miss this objective, then we will experience reaction, negative one, and populists will prevail. The G7, this G7, is very important in this direction, following what our Japanese friends have done, which was very important, and working together with our Canadian friend for the next one. This is a long path. We're not going to solve all the problems here. But this should be considered a permanent format of the G7. Because if there is a challenge that asks us to work together, this is the challenge of innovation today. And we already know that internationalization, globalization is managed in the G20 format. I think that innovation should, whilst being discussed in the G20, manage also at a G7 level. So, having said that, we have a lot of work to be done. We cannot do this work and accomplish the mission without the support of civil society, of experts, of entrepreneurs. So this is a G7 which is, by definition, open to suggestion, support, discussion, and debate. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Minister. Thank you, Ministers. I want to thank everybody for being part of the Multi-Stakeholder Conference, and I will leave you with five very short remarks. First of all, you, the Minister, do something good for the people, because people desperately need it. Second of all, enjoy Torino. It's a spectacular city. You love it. Third of all, please read La Stampa. Fourth of all, enjoy the cocktail. Fifth, drive safely. Good night.